Chinese Rocket Force is going to be renamed Club Specific.
Ancient Chinese secret.
I put a second blanket on the cursed chair this week.
Has that made any changes?
Trying to avoid scabies.
It's not scabies because I feel like the whole place would be fucked if it was that.
Yeah.
There's active theories out there. One comes from
Demonic possession as
well.
well.
That's up there. Lerm Dog,
Yeah.
Johnny Lerm Dog. That's not a good nickname, but we'll go with it. Evidently, it could be like the old plastic fibers are like shredding us at a microscopic level.
Yeah.
Which, with two blankets on.
I mean, that chair definitely could. I don't know if it predates PFAS, but it could. If it doesn't, then it.
What's PFAS?
That's like the forever plastics. Like,
this is for sure not a forever plastic. I sat in this. I was like, ooh, somebody was made in the 70s.
Next Lent, I'm just
like
going to
when
sit in that.
That's like probably when they first made like forever plastics.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Johnny's right. For next Lent, I'm not going to give up jacking off, but I will only jack off in this chair
in the fiberglass chair.
with no blankets on it. Just,
I'm going to get my scars just like Jesus did.
By the end of Lent, my backside is going to be raw. My nuts are going to be empty.
You've been holding strong since like the end of like February.
For jacking off?
Yeah.
Nah, last week the guys made it sound so good. I had to give it a whirl.
I watch the podcast and I see you fairly often.
Yeah.
I guess we don't hang out as much as we
I'm
used
never
to.
jacking off when you're around, Pat.
Are you blaming Elena Banfield for the reason?
No, I'm blaming both of you guys.
Oh,
It was
okay,
like efficiency, and I was like, oh yeah, all right. Let me.
Yeah.
It's like
it's like we had an intervention for the fact that you
bar.
weren't.
Yeah, I was like,
Lou,
guys,
you're not jacking off. What the fuck?
First of all, I was jacking it still. By the way, our guest this week, Pat Sievert.
Pat Sievert. Beggar's own
Jacking
Pat
off
Sievert.
expert.
we had to bring in the real deal for this one. All right, Pat, go-to maneuver. I'm an over the top. I go at my meat like
switch it up.
Well,
We have totally tanked our first 6 minutes.
oh shit! I didn't even set the timer.
Do we need to? Can we take this and put it at the end?
No, I think we're in it.
No, just suck it, you two.
You better promote the shit out of this episode, Pat.
I didn't know.
Pat, you dirty fucking
I'll
mouth.
try.
Coming in talking. Actually, I think it was me
I did-
immediately
I think
talking about jacking off during
I did say fuck too. So
that's Pat, you should see what's on the editing room floor. Chinese Rocket Force.
Lou on 2 separate occasions has had to censor me saying a certain Italian slur.
Jeez.
I had to cut
And then
out-
I saw the Olympics news recently, and I was like, "Oh, I want to say it again." I was like, "Get that button ready, Lou."
What Olympics news?
that Italian bird who can't take a fucking shot.
Yeah,
to the
the
mouth.
Italian boxer who doesn't like getting punched.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Where's the other boxer from?
Algeria.
Dude, the Algerians are out here fucking people up physically.
Yeah. So bad that people turn transphobic.
Okay. Also,
so bad that people have to go. She must be trans.
Yeah,
There's no way.
I will say this. I know she's a lady, but to quote a classic Austin Powers line,
Yeah.
it does look like she got beat over the head with an ugly stick. Hell of a boxer. Listen, the Lord makes boxers and ballerinas, and that lady can punch.
Well, like that, she is a woman, and then.
Hey, but what is that, Pat?
What is a woman? What is a woman actually?
But what is that, Pat? What is?
Wait. You do Peterson. I'll do Matt Walsh. what is a woman actually?
I'd be inclined to believe you if you just like, what is a woman? Pat, you should have known you were going to get Eiffel Towered with sadistic, conservative adjacent bad comedy.
I do want to talk about
because I filter so much of it out.
Yeah.
we do. This is your intervention.
Pat, you're a straight white man. You've got so much potential. You're leaving on the porch.
The problem is Louis and I are so irony poisoned that our algorithm is just right wing.
Irony.
Yeah.
You ever ironically
It's
get into
ironically
guns?
set to that.
Dog, I'm so ironic for open carry.
You ever ironically reserve your spot to go see Ben Shapiro live at U of M?
and then ironically enjoy it.
You ever ironically agree with everything he says?
Oh no, Pat. What we're getting at is we see a dry sponge in you, and we just want to wet your beak.
Well, here's something I do want to know is because we established that off air that you pretty much you're not a masochist. You don't take in any stuff that you know will upset you, which is good.
I try not to.
Was there ever a time where you were that person where you did kind of seek out?
I think like I mean, it was probably like the Bush administration. I think I like very stupidly thought that was like the worst it would be.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like
You and Patton Oswalt
like
both.
the build up to like the Iraq War and the Iraq War. I was like, oh man, this is like the worst it will be.
Dog, talk
Like-
about venom to carnage.
like watching like him get reelected. I was like, man, how did this happen? And then like he was done, and like Obama won, and they're like, man, okay, things will be better now. And then I was
Pat,
like, yeah.
not to be rude. How old were you when the towers fell?
I was 20.
Okay, so you were in that age group of like younger American men where like every time something that big in America happens, like we might fucking draft everybody.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I mean,
like-
I probably wouldn't have gone because I've had like I was born with like messed up feet, so like
okay.
No,
Yeah.
I probably would have been 4F, but
Sounds-
Bone spurs?
Yeah, sounds like
Seriously, like,
the
no.
ongoings of the song to me.
I mean, I guess if it was like as I thought about it because I was like history major and thought about like that kind of if there was a draft and they were like everybody's got to go to war, it's a big thing, and they were like you got to go register for selective service, and they were talking to me and they're like you got to
hang
do
on.
something.
You had to do that to vote, didn't you?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I was like, Pat, you-
I had to register for that, but if they
Right,
were like, "There's
right.
a draft and everybody's got to serve in some way," I'm like, "Okay, I'm not going to the front line, but I guess I got to do an office job. I got to do." Like,
Oh man,
you gotta-
Pat, you as an army cleric would be hilarious.
I mean,
though.
I guess
all
I don't
the the young bucks being like Orlando Bloom and Black Hawk Down, like I'm here to kick ass, and you're just typing like shut the fuck up,
I
loser.
guess I'm learning Arabic.
Yo, ironically though, to be better at war.
Funny enough, that's what all of the all of the Republicans were saying after 9/11 was guess we're learning Arabic.
Yeah,
They're taking over.
Well, it's crazy because all the guys that become Green Berets to fight. Learn the language and culture.
They do have
and
to
then
learn
about
Arabic.
20 years after the war, they're like, nah, those people are pretty chill, actually.
Yeah.
I think we might have been the bad guys. Like, fucking.
I mean, it was it was pretty traumatizing when all that stuff happened, but it's like I look back on that, it's like, yeah, we should have never done a lot of the stuff that we did.
America's, it's the drunk good guy Charlie at a bar who gets sucker punched and then immediately turns around and hits the wrong person. Like, God damn it. Like,
Well,
It's sorry, go ahead.
I read a thing that was like 9/11's like this terrible day in American history. Like everyone's like, "Oh, America, that's the worst day in American history." When it was like September 11th, 1973 was the day we overthrew the government in Chile. Like their democratic election. So it's like people are like 9/11 was a terrible day in other parts of the world too for a lot longer. Like
Yeah.
elections, buildings. Yeah, who's to say?
Although in some of those other countries they call it 11/9, so they didn't really get to trademark.
Dumb
Yeah, that's true.
bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got our American system of dates. We won.
Switch it up so it doesn't sound funny. Oh man, yeah, that's good fun. So, how quick? No, I'm not gonna do it. Nah, I'm not gonna do it.
But yeah, so I wouldn't I would seek out things about like, I think when I was like when I was in college, that's like when political speakers would come to campus. You'd like see, so Dinesh D'Souza's coming to campus.
Hell yeah,
I
dude.
hate that guy. Like get like worked up about stuff like that.
Only
But
I saw Dinesh D'Souza when he was at MSU. I got out of a class.
For those of us who don't know,
The Dinesh D'Souza, great man, great American. I think my favorite thing is he's like a conservative. Is he Indian? What's his?
or
don't
maybe
get this
he-
wrong. Don't you both?
Yeah.
I
Don't
believe
get it wrong.
so. I
He's
believe so.
but he's conservative documentary film, basically like a right wing Michael Moore kind
Yeah.
of. And he famously he got locked up for like tax evasion, and he said it's because the Obama administration was trying to shut him up. But he came to MSU to speak, and it was in one of those like kivas, like a secret hall.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like you wouldn't know it was there if you took classes in that hall.
Yeah.
And I got out of a 4 p.m. class, and I had heard that he was going to be there.
It's the Hogwarts room of MSU.
Yeah.
yeah,
What is it?
yeah, the room of
The
requirement.
room of requirement. We have a questionable speaker coming to campus.
yeah.
So I go. I was like, I want to go check it out, and so I walk over, and I still have like my backpack with me. And anybody look up when Dinesh D'Souza. There's the live stream video when he's talking at MSU. It would have been like 2019 or something.
Probably.
I showed up, and they sat me. They had a special seat that nobody else, like they had sat everybody, but they had one empty seat, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be up here." And I took a look around, and I was like, "I'm the closest thing to a black guy they have in this entire
Oh, man.
Yeah.
room. I'm the most person of color." And so if you watch the video, you can see me in every single shot. I'm seated like like
Were you
very-
laughing a lot?
Huh? Yeah, I was tickled.
Yeah, all right.
But I'm there in like my big winter jacket, and I have like I have my backpack like against the wall next to me.
Oh, no.
And I'm so calculated about what I applaud for. He was like, "Give it up for MSU," and I'm like, "Yeah, I go here," and I clap.
you go-
And then
yeah,
he was
go
like, "Give it
here."
up for the local police," and I was like, and I just like
I'll
nodded.
give it up for Bath Township. They got a dope police force.
No, yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, they're making all the jokes on
Yeah,
social media.
They're- Bath Township police
That is
force.
pretty sick.
I don't
Yeah.
know what their recruitment and training process is, but I was like, dude, they go through some sort of comedy school as well. They're the fucking super troopers of Michigan, and I love it.
We always joke about how like some liberal white crowds are sometimes the hardest crowds because they feel scrutinized over what they're laughing at,
Yeah.
what they're reacting to. That's the only time I've ever felt that way. I was like, there's a camera on me this whole time.
Oh, gotcha.
People are gonna
Yeah.
judge me for what I'm reacting to.
Yeah.
That's-
So I was just kind of like,
That's why comedy
Poker
clubs.
face.
And you
I'm
gotta
like,
wonder
keep
if
those
people like
lights down.
if people would
Yeah.
know that you didn't belong there. They're like, "Oh, he's here to like troll or something," you know.
the best part was one.
How
like,
many people were there?
I mean, it was packed, but it wasn't a huge venue.
Okay.
But there was one guy who.
Sold out.
About
at
15 minutes
yeah.
in, this kid in a beanie stands up and he starts going, "Get the fuck out of MSU!" And he's
Yeah.
like live streaming and he's going like, on his phone. And everybody starts arguing with him, and then the police escort him out. And then Dinesh
What's
later
this
in
guy's
his speech,
takes?
what?
What is this guy's takes?
It's very
Dinesh
right
just,
wing.
just very right wing,
Oh,
just
okay.
kind of down the line.
Well, hang on,
He used to campaign for Reagan back in the day. Like that's
Yeah.
how long
All
he's
right.
been
Well,
around.
that's
I
not
remember like when
recently.
he came to Western in the early 2000s, and it was all like very like, let's talk about the evils of affirmative action.
Yeah.
Was kind of
Okay.
like, that was like Bush was in power, so he didn't have any like the current government to rail against. So it
well,
was like,
respectfully, because I want to hear the rest of this, but
Yeah.
yeah.
that is not in recent history not the worst conservative MSU's had speak on campus.
But-
Definitely not. Are you thinking of the Spence?
yeah, I was there.
The Spence dog?
I was there with the
Yeah,
Spence dog.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
definitely probably been worse people in the
no,
time since.
I just
but,
I
yeah.
didn't know why like Beanie Kid got up yelling.
So
I was like,
Beanie Kid gets up and he's yelling, and he like all he does is he goes, "Get the fuck out of MSU," and then he just starts like live streaming and making
fucking got
faces,
him.
and he doesn't say anything else. I was like, "This is a weird guy. This is bizarre," and he's alone. It's just him. And then the cops escort him out. And then Dinesh continues with his speech, and about like 15, 20 minutes later, he starts like referencing very organically in his speech, referencing the kid who like who protested him, and it kind of dawned on me. I was like, I think that was a plant.
Oh,
I think he's like the Steve Hofstetter of
Damn,
conservative
dude.
commentators. Just got
Yikes,
people
dude.
set up to heckle him so he can fire back. But that was pretty cool. No, he was cool. I loved him. Dinesh, I
Damn.
love Dinesh.
Ah, Steve Hofstetter. Steve, take us with you.
Take us with you,
guys.
Steve.
Steve, take
Dinesh-
did
us
you guys
with
fill out the form to open for Steve?
No, no.
Wait, I forgot he did like a Google form, right?
Yeah.
He set up like a comedy
it could have been cool.
university
Yeah,
in
the
Pittsburgh.
thing in Pittsburgh, yeah.
and
That is cool.
I'm not against what
Yeah,
he's
no,
up to.
I'm not against Steve Hofstetter at all. I think it's
Yeah,
fun
like
to make.
as far as stand-up comedy is concerned, I'm like, there's people like sexually assaulting people
Yeah.
left,
Yeah.
right, and center, and then we're like, can't believe Steve's using plants. Like,
yeah, just
I'm
like a guy in a vest
the
who's
plants
kind of
thing is
lame.
weird, but it's
Yeah,
not the
like-
worst thing I've heard.
Yeah,
My-
people
like, I
doing.
don't know.
My favorite Steve Hofstetter thing is like when he was first starting off, one of his album covers was an illustration of Larry the Cable Guy getting hanged.
Oh,
And
God.
part of it was like, oh, it's rock and roll. I'm speaking like, I'm punching up at like the big dogs in comedy.
Yikes.
And then Larry the Cable Guy was like on a radio show, and they're like, hey, what'd you think of that? And he was like, I thought it was kind of hurtful. And I remember kind of being like, yeah, Steve, what the fuck? Why'd
Yeah.
you do that, dude?
I don't,
Larry
yeah.
just got his feelings hurt.
that's talk about a wild attack there. Like,
Yeah,
come on
yeah.
now.
No, the guy doesn't deserve to die. Like it's not something I would ever
Also,
seek out. But
knowing that Larry the Cable Guy is and obviously it's a character, which
Right.
I feel like an idiot saying that.
He
now.
talks like us.
But
in
like
real life.
as a kid not getting it, I'm like, oh, I don't really like it. As an adult who's now doing stand up,
Yeah.
I'm like the full commit to be that character, crush it for that demo.
Yeah.
Also quietly acknowledge what you're doing. I'm like, I don't mind him. Like
No.
there's worse characters out there. Also like this says a lot about me, but like unironically, Larry the Cable Guy's got me a couple of times where I was like, that was a good bit. Like
Yeah.
not that, not not good. I'll leave this hill without firing a shot back. I'm not dying up here. But
Do you
yeah.
think that is he a victim of like the dice effect, where maybe he started off and this Larry the Cable Guy thing was like a character he did sometimes, and that was the thing that took off?
Not probably.
Well, I think it took off. So I remember, like, I think Mark Maron talked about it on a podcast that he had worked with him as Dan Whitney. That's
Oh,
his real name.
right.
Like, he
Yeah.
used to do comedy as just Dan Whitney, and then
Yeah.
he did the Larry the Cable Guy thing, and then it started. That's what people wanted to see, so
We'll
he just
do it.
transitioned to
Hey,
doing that
if-
the whole
if
thing.
he's having fun with it,
Yeah.
I do want to wheel back before we get too far away from it.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Venn diagram of Larry the Cable Guy fans and people that went to go see Richard Spencer on MSU's
Oh,
campus.
God. Yeah.
Have I talked about this on air ever?
You were there. What were you doing? Like a Channel 5 thing? Why were you?
Kinda. No, I was like the colonizing white guy in Last Samurai who learns Japanese and is excited. Tom.
You're Tom
You
Cruise?
were
Tom Cruise.
Cruise
No,
and-
I was the redheaded, like, oh, another Englishman. Like you remember the kind of portly Englishman
Yeah,
that
yeah,
knows
I remember.
Japanese, and at
Yeah.
the end
Oh.
he's just watching the battle and he's kind of weeping. I was like that, but laughing because I showed up. They put first of all, I don't know if I want to call Richard Spencer Spence Dog because
No.
he's
No.
he's not
You
Jeremy
don't want to be
Piven.
like
Piv Dog.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Yeah.
get the moniker of DAWG.
We're gonna take the bold stance that Jeremy Piven is a better person than Richard Spencer.
Hey, and
Yeah.
I'm putting a fort up on that hill. I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
But anyways, so like Spencer and company were like no restaurant. There's a little bit of lore behind this. Because one of his guys tried to work out at Powerhouse, and like I forget who was
One of
work-
Richard Spencer's guys?
Yeah, there was like
his
one of
posse?
his guys wanted to work out at Powerhouse, and an employee of ours was like, "No, dude."
Yeah.
Like, but I think they let him in anyways. I don't know. I can't remember, but we would find out from that guy and then other like sources. Nowhere in East Lansing or Lansing would like have their group to like eat or like congregate. So like, because they kept trying to make reservations, and then finally, like, you know, restaurant owners be like, "What fucking what now?" No, but which by the way, Richard Spencer is a white supremacist.
He's like,
Yes.
And a white
unambiguously
He
a
admits
white
to it.
supremacist.
No, he openly admits to it.
Yeah.
He's the guy. If anybody looks up, he's the guy who got punched.
Yeah,
He also
punched
says
on
like
Trump
"Hail Trump"
Inauguration
and
Day.
dumbass
Yeah.
shit. Like
Yeah.
he's kind of a lame version of like a supervillain.
Yeah.
Like when he's like "Hail Trump," I'm like, you
Right.
fucking
Yeah.
dweeb. Like,
He endorsed Kamala Harris.
did he really?
What?
He
Ironically,
does. No, he just does stuff like that sometimes, like as a bit. I don't know.
That all right.
I think he's like trying to. I don't even know what his angle is.
I don't believe him.
because he endorsed Andrew Yang.
Yeah,
too, in
I don't
2020,
actually
remember.
believe.
I don't think he believes
I think
anything.
He's a grifter.
Yeah, he's like
but-
Milo.
Oh.
Exactly, but okay, so no one would have him.
Yeah.
They were having their Jesus of Nazareth moment. Nobody will let us in the inn. I'm sure that's how they spun it. So, anyways, they ended up having to eat and plan at the Meridian Mall food court. So they're just at the food court. They're at the food
At
court.
Sabaro.
Dude, imagine
That's-
planning a coup
That's
like having
one of
Yum
the,
Japan.
That's one of the saddest things I've ever heard happening in that
Dude,
food
just-
court.
in the Meridian Mall food court.
I
That's
mean,
saying a lot too.
That's like, I mean, Richard Marx played its grand opening. That's pretty sad.
I mean, as far as woke food courts go, Meridian Mall only has one Americana restaurant. The rest of
That's
it's
true.
around the world.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So, anyways, so they had their like group there, and then Michigan State Police already had riot squads in front of the pavilion. And that's the other thing is they put them in the pavilion.
And it like already had a huge fence around it. and
Yeah,
stuff.
there's
Yeah.
huge fence around it, but it's also like where the school will like auction off livestock. so he's like giving a talk there. But I will tell you this much: there was a like scary amount of like actual like neo-Nazis that
Oh,
showed up
God.
that day.
Oof.
And then there was some Antifa. I can't remember if Antifa was like huge at the time.
No.
I think they were
They were
on the
still
come
up and coming.
Yeah, there was a but
'Cause
there's
it's not like a it's not like an organized thing. Like
No,
anybody who's like against
yeah, but-
fascism can be an anti.
right,
can
but
be
back then they
Antifa.
didn't have like flags and shit
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
were railing. They were like just kind of getting uniforms together. And I remember though it was like Antifa and then just like a lot of just Lansing and East Lansing locals being like, "Nah, we don't want this guy." Like
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
counter protest, and then behind all that was like the police department. So it was like it was kind of the battle of the five armies missing two armies. And then I was just standing on like a concrete pillar lamppost thing, just observing it all. And it was nuts because they actually did get into some fist fighting, and then the cops like were not fucking around. But my claim to oopsie fame is I was like, it was my lunch break, so I'd walked from the gym over to the pavilion. I had to piss real bad, and there was like police helicopters and all this. I wasn't really thinking about it, so I like scampered off into a corner of the parking lot down a ravine. Was on my knees for like a minute, just hot pissing through the thermals. A helicopter must have seen it, and then like 3 Antifa kids came over to see what I was doing. I was like, "Oh, I was just pissing because I had to," and they're like, "Oh, that's a great idea." And then they all started pissing there after I left. And then a SWAT team came over there because the helicopter thought yours truly was planting something. and then the 3, unfortunately, depending on who you're rooting for,
Wow.
the 3 Antifa kids did get detained.
Oh,
no.
dude.
What? I didn't tell them to whip their
Wow.
peenies out.
You're a
front-
rat for those Antifa guys?
No, I didn't rat.
All right,
I walked
RFK
away.
Jr. just admitting
No, I was
to-
like a helpful idiot
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like I pissed. I started the pissing in the corner
Yeah.
train. I got out scot-free. Couldn't prove my wiener was out.
Yeah.
But then the cops came over and definitely caught them
Richard
pissing.
Spencer didn't get punched in the face because
No.
of you.
No, but
Those
a
are
few,
3 guys that could have
a
punched
few of
Richard
his.
Spencer.
What are you
in the
talking
face.
about? I walked him in the back door. No, they did bring him in. But no, I will say this: the cops had like riot shields, and people started throwing like stones and bricks.
Yeah.
And eventually, the cops were like, "Oh, I'm not protecting this guy," and they protected themselves. And this one dude took a brick to the dome,
Oh.
and you could see
One
him
of the
in-
cops?
No. The cops were fine. They had helmets on and
Oh.
their shields, but they were like covering the like guys that wanted to go in to see him with their shields.
Oh.
And then eventually they were like, "Nah, I don't
No,
feel like getting
no.
hit."
Yeah.
So they started
I think
covering
you
themselves.
assume the risk if you're going to see.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then I will say this: if you watch the video, only like 15 people besides press made it in to see him.
Yeah.
But there's one guy with a real shiner on his nog. I'm like, oh, I think he might have caught that brick, dude. He's just out there. I was like, hey, man, I'm glad that you're happy you made it in, but you should go to Sparrow.
Yeah.
Was he one of the racists or one of the good guys?
No,
Racist.
I'd hazard the guess that he was a racist.
They'll probably go home and just tell people it was from a Pantera concert or
Maybe.
something.
Dude, there was like all at the time of like the 2018 like white supremacist YouTube time. There was like a lot of like Milo adjacent characters there.
Yeah. Sorry, we just keep throwing names around that you don't ever engage with.
Oh, Pat knows
I know
Milo.
who these people are.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, some of them are inescapable these days.
Yeah.
They pop up
I
everywhere.
mean, it's like I know about these people. I don't really go that deep into what they say.
where do you go for your like politics news and stuff like that? Do you have a
I listen to like some podcasts, but like trying to think.
Dog,
Like-
if you say CNN right now,
No.
I swear to God.
I listen to
I don't
Club
have
Random with
I don't
Bill
have
Maher.
Cable. No, definitely not Bill Maher.
He was creepy with that Hawk Tuah girl.
Oh, God.
lately.
Yeah, that's,
That was gross.
I think I was like one person who defended Hawk Tuah girl, and then I see her on Bill Maher. I'm like, no, you
No,
let me
So,
down. You
I
let me
watched
down.
that. Brett Mercer and I always talk about how we're both like big Bill Maher heads.
Oh, no.
And we both watch like everything. And I watched that episode, and the biggest takeaway is Bill once again very creepy.
Yeah.
Hawk Tuah girl actually pretty charming.
She's
I
she's
like her.
good on podcasts.
Yeah, she comes
Yeah.
out of it like likable, and she takes so many moments that could have been awkward with Bill Maher because he just cultivates
Yeah.
those moments, and she like kind of laughs him off, and she makes it go pretty smoothly, and I'm like,
I did not like how he talked to her at all.
oh no.
It was
Like,
skin
He was
crawlingly.
like, you got that spitting thing from porn. He did
you
that
should
couple-
do a sex podcast.
Well, like I've seen,
and we should fuck.
I've seen people talk about like I guess she went to a concert and did something on stage. And people were like, and it wasn't good, and people were mad. The crowd didn't respond well. It's like, well, she's not. She hasn't done anything like that before.
Right,
Of course,
right.
that's
I'm gonna publicly defend her right now. I thought the Hawk Tuah video, first of all, is hilarious.
It
in
is.
its
It is
own
funny.
right.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And every podcast or like appearance she's had lately, I'm like, she's very like charming on camera.
Yeah.
Funny enough conversationally. I'm like, yeah, I get that it would piss off a lot of established stand-ups to be like,
Yeah.
all right, she's just gonna jump in and lap us all. But I'm like, whatever. Like, how she's probably already funnier than 50% of the
my
open
thinking
micers.
was
Yeah.
if she got booked at comedy clubs, I'm not going to be upset about that.
Right.
Because like, but I don't know that
She's gonna take your Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, I don't
like,
know that
oh
she'd
no,
be good
or-
at stand up. She could get good at stand up with
Yeah.
practice.
Potentially.
she's also 21.
Yeah, she'd probably be better at like
Bill
if,
Maher.
if she
21.
if she did a podcast or something, or like did in conversation with Hawk Tuah girl, like let her interview other people.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
or
I-
have somebody interview her.
I-
like
The best part of the Bill Maher podcast is when he's taught she asks if he's single, and he's like, yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're 68 and you're
God.
single. He's like, yeah, I'm single. And she goes, what do you think about 80-year-old women? I got a
How
grandma.
do you feel about an 80-year-old woman?
And then you could just see him
If-
like
like oh god, no.
recede. He's just like, oh no.
if you knew the first thing about me, it'd
like,
be like
"Oh,
that.
honey."
He's creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His whole stance on relationships was out of this world. Where he's like, I
Well,
just don't
'Cause I
like
think
even
he
the.
doesn't settle down.
A
Right.
68-year-old man who's never married and primarily has sex with prostitutes has a weird stance on relationships.
He bangs out prostitutes.
Yeah. He's infamous for like only liking black prostitutes. That's like his big thing.
Like dated
What
Ann
a-
Coulter.
Did he date Ann Coulter?
I thought so.
And Coulter's a black prostitute.
No, but,
She just went as one for Halloween.
Damn it, dude.
she may have.
I wish I
That
would've
would
held
not
it together
surprise
there.
me if they had Coulter.
And Coulter's in Black Hawk Down.
Bill, take us with you.
Bill.
Oh, that's gnarly, dude.
He is a gnarly man.
Bill Maher and Ann Coulter would be the most unbearable couple. You could
Yeah,
ever imagine.
imagine that sex tape.
Dude. Imagine that Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf like marriage argument that you would hear. Like if you came over for dinner and they started arguing.
I honestly,
I'd
would
kill myself.
I'd DoorDash a pizza. I would get, because they'd be like, "This is foie gras." I'd be like, "Sure it is," and then they'd be arguing, and then I would answer the door and be eating a stuffed crust pizza, watching them argue. I would love that. Oh, that to me sounds like yeah. I'd be wearing.
Here's the thing, okay? You spit on dicks, okay? You got that from porn. I know because I've watched a lot of it, okay? New rule. You got to watch porn.
Let me nut. You're getting a little Trumpy there.
I got a little Trumpy.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
new rule.
Oh god. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I have no problem with Hog 2 girl. I hope if she I part of me doesn't want her to say anything about how she feels politically or I was like, she's got to keep it kind of close to the vest.
I truly don't. From what I've seen of her, I don't think she has any political opinions. I think she's
probably
like 20.
not.
She's 21.
She's a
and
partying
right.
21 year
But
old.
some,
Yeah.
but
When have you ever met a drunk
there
partying
were-
asshole that's like, blah, 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 blah. Let me
But,
talk
you
about the
know,
Constitution?
But there were some. There's I
Yeah.
feel like there's you have there are definitely some kids who are like, I was the middle school Republican
Yeah.
club leader or whatever. Like, oh God.
I do feel like every time there's a cultural moment like this and a person comes out of it, there's sort of this moment of an auction between the left and the right of who gets to take them.
Yeah,
you know?
that was wild.
Like the left and the right going is she one of ours? Is she one of ours?
There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
way the right could be like, well, she must got it from porn and nothing says conservative like loogies on a dick.
The right was probably she was comfortable talking to a black interviewer. She talking about Hawk
We
2.
gotta get her.
It was like,
I don't know if I've talked about this on here before, but she was on a Barstool podcast, and they were
Yeah.
listing guys asking if she would
Yep, I
blow
saw
them,
that.
and they're like Donald Trump, and she was like absolutely not. And then the right wing were so disappointed by this.
Yeah.
I'm like, she just said she wouldn't blow a 78-year-old man.
Ooh, yeah, right. And that's when Bill Maher, a 68-year-old man, was like, "I'm in."
there's hope for me.
Let's see where the line is.
The window hasn't closed completely.
Let's
All
knock a
right.
decade off and get to it. I would maybe not a popular stance, but my knee-jerk reaction as a wannabe grinding it out entertainer myself, I don't think anybody that I don't think everybody who goes viral and then capitalizes on that is a dog shit entertainer. I know some people are, but some people it works out for, and other people it doesn't. And I'm always kind of rooting for the people. I want viral people. I want it to work out for him.
Yeah.
But it's you remember the Ocean Spray guy, Chewy or whatever his name is? He right? He was the total vibe during the pandemic where he's cruising on his skateboard.
Oh yeah, the guy listening to Dreams. by Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood
Yeah.
Mac, and he hits the Ocean Spray. It was a beautiful moment. He went hyper viral for a month, and then he tried to capitalize on it, and then it just there wasn't staying power, and that bums me out because I'm like, oh,
it's just skateboarding.
I know, and she just said "hawk to it," But it's the thing is, when he's on the podcast circuit, it's oh, okay, I don't know if we can use this for long term, but again, she fielded a weird as fuck conversation with a dominant force in comedy, who's been around for decades, and if anything, she looked like the more competent of the two conversationalists.
Well, the thing about watching Bill Maher's podcast is you never guess he's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
You know? If you watch him, the Hawk Tour girl, you think she's the comedian.
Yeah.
He just sounds like a CNN guy who got too high to form a sentence. It's pretty much all it is. He never jokes.
No.
He's always never
What are you
when's the last
talking
time you heard
about?
Bill
That's
Maher do a bit?
Oh God. can we go ahead and stop? when
You haven't laughed at new rules?
Yeah, new rule.
I like-
Everybody that comes to my show has to blow me.
I like that when I hear about some people we know have written for Bill Maher. Ned Rice was a Bill Maher writer, and I've always wanted to ask Ned, like, was it your idea for him to hate Muslims, or was that all Bill? Like, I like to think there's a writer's room that's just coming up with his bad opinions.
Does Bill Maher famously not care for Muslims?
No, yeah, dude. No, he's not cool with them.
It was like, because he made that movie Religulous,
Right.
Like,
God damn
Which
20 years ago.
I liked that movie when I was
which
12.
people talked about. It was like people were like, it was it's
Religulous?
because he's an atheist.
Right.
People were like, it's this atheist movie, him taking his atheist stance, but now it's like people like reevaluating it. It's really anti-Muslim in addition to being.
I'll tell you what, he
atheist.
should believe in God if he thinks a 21-year-old girl is going to blow him.
Yeah, a 21-year-old girl with sudden fame.
Yeah.
And you're telling me it's going to happen without divine intervention?
Right.
Bill?
Well, or being a black prostitute, evidently.
Yeah.
That's what a wild thing to leak. Did he let that out?
I think he like took them to events sometimes. Like he was just seen with them.
All right.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's like, I fuck black chicks, okay? You got a problem?
Dude, his podcast title should be that.
Chinese Rocket Force is going to be renamed Club Specific.
We're finding a very specific tangent to go down. The kind of prostitutes that Bill Maher specifically goes for.
I love that Club
Not
Random.
just that he goes to prostitutes. We know their ethnic backgrounds.
We're going to find out what parts of the world Bill Maher's dick has been to.
Oh, if you knew the
You
first thing about me.
You throw a dart at a map of specifically one continent, you're going to find.
Just all magnetized to Africa.
I remember I had a joke I used to do about like part of the joke was about like Taco Bell's gonna pay for the wall being built. That was like one part of the joke, and then I guess on Real Time with Bill Maher, he had a joke that was similar to that.
Oh.
And my uncle who watched the show was like, Bill Maher took your joke, and I was like, I didn't even watch it because I don't, I was like, oh, I bet it was that. I was like, was it Taco Bell going to pay for the wall? He was like, yeah, he took your joke. I can't believe it. I was like, no, he didn't take my
Yeah.
joke. It was parallel thought, but I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I was like,
Parallel thought can be flattering or devastating.
Yeah, it really depends on who it
it
is.
probably wasn't Bill Maher. It was one of his writers, but even so, I gotta probably not do that joke for much longer. Is the point?
But you could be a writer for Bill Maher someday.
I guess, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I wrote a book. I wrote a joke one time about how wokeness has gone too far, and people keep stealing it.
Yeah.
Dude, every week another comic's taking my bit.
Man, I want to just get. Sometimes I want to go on stage at Max and be like, "Yeah, I can't say anything."
I will get that a lot. Like, oh, it's good. Whenever somebody who doesn't do stand up finds out I do stand up, and their first thing they say is, "Oh man, it's got to be so tough for
Yeah.
you." I'm like, not the
No.
comedy part. The life is stupid. I
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
picked a better thing to do with my life. But doing stand up for fun is easy.
Like, yeah, aren't you worried that people are so offended?
I'm
these
like,
days?
nah,
I'm
people
like,
seem-
no, not really.
Well,
no.
people seem to be pretty cool with my World War II and Lego bits, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep
I
that.
was like,
But
I don't know. I'm
like,
not-
I
The,
get
the most I've ever gotten in terms of like a hostile reaction is like older people going,
I've
you know?
see, no, I've said some shit that has garnered some hostile responses.
I did. A guy walked out on me one time actually. And
Yeah,
he said something.
But the thing
that
is, I'm
was-
like,
yeah.
it's not difficult. You
No.
know what I mean? I'm like, no,
you survive.
yeah, and it's
Wait.
also like if I'm gonna talk about a touchy subject and it's like a newer bit,
Yeah.
I'm like, chances are I'm gonna piss some people off,
Yeah.
and that sucks. But I'm like, I'm just goofing still.
yeah,
like,
being like a new comedian, doing something that you in your mind you're like, oh, this is maybe a shaky subject, and I'm not good at this joke yet.
Yeah.
And then people don't react very well to it, but you're like probably when you're in the middle of the joke, you're like, oh, this isn't going well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, and it's only gonna get worse. And then it's like, yep, and it went about as well as I thought it would.
I
You
feel
know,
like I'm
that's-
just getting the stage confidence now to do something that I'm like, this could go bad. And if it does, sit in it, let them
Yeah.
be correct, and then go to another bit. Whereas like before, it would have been like, oh, they fucking hate me and I'm fucked. Like
Yeah.
it would have, capsized the whole set. Where now I can be like, nah, you guys are right. That was a
I mean,
bad
It
bit.
depends. Like I mean, like if it's like how you start, if it's at the start. And you have to do
Yeah.
if you have to do 30 more minutes,
Dude.
that's rough.
That was the
Yeah.
worst set of my life I ever
Yeah.
had. Was at Max.
Oh, no.
I was still starting out.
I mean, at least you only had like 5 more minutes to do.
Yeah, was
but,
it
yeah.
a regular set? Or like,
It was a regular set.
Oh, okay.
And
Alright.
I was only like a year in, maybe not even that. And it was the first time I ever like ate shit, and it was because it was right after Brett Kavanaugh got appointed to the Supreme Court,
God.
and I opened on this brand new thing I had, and I'm not gonna say it.
Don't
for
burn
the
the bit.
I'm
dude.
not
It's
gonna
probably
burn the
good.
bit.
Don't burn
For the
bit.
sake of the
Maybe
listeners.
it's savable.
yeah, dude. Let's pump
I'm gonna
it
make
up.
it work one of these days.
We're gonna sell
This
it.
super timely Brett Kavanaugh bit is gonna work out. But I remember it was so like the second it left my face, I was like, "Why did you say that in front of
Yeah,
people?"
I tried to make a Bud Light joke last week. I was like, what are we doing?
Well, but then do you ever like do that? And then it's like you try to do the break in case of emergency. Like, okay, here's my best bits.
Yeah.
But it's too late. You've already lost the goodwill.
Yeah.
And I remember that after the show, I walked out. I was like standing by the door talking to some of the comics, and Rob came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, let's talk for a second." He brings me out on the porch, and I felt like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas
Oh, no.
when he's about to be made.
Oh,
But then Rob,
when he's about to be made, not
well,
killed.
no, when he thinks he's about to be made.
Oh,
when he's
okay.
like- but
Yeah,
then
dude,
Rob
yeah.
was like, he didn't even acknowledge my set directly. He was just like, just started giving me some tips. He was just like, hey, travel around more, practice your stuff, and record all your sets.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so that was nice because it told me like they thought I was worth saving. Like Rob thought I was worth
Hey, man.
giving advice
Lansing
to. You know?
comedy, you haven't been made unless the Max fellas tell you to cool it on a bit when you're early on. I got my talking to.
Who did it?
Dan.
Oh,
Dan
yeah.
gave me a heads up.
Nice.
I defend the bit still. Thought it was a good bit.
do you give talking tos for Max ever these days?
I haven't done that too much. Trying to think. One time, I know I told somebody that they had a bit that was similar to. I told someone they had a bit that was similar to something I was doing like at the time, and I was like, I think you probably maybe heard me do it.
Oh,
and
so
maybe
you
it
were
was,
you were just telling somebody to get off your dick.
No, but it was
you
like-
weren't telling nobody.
It was like
that.
it was a very. It was like
Saving them from catching Pat's hands
They-
is what you were
like,
doing.
it was like it was. I don't want to say too much and like because I don't think it was an intentional thing, but it was like it was my CPAP bit, but they reversed it. Like someone talked about they didn't want a car that would shut off at a red light, but I was like, but you had but you use a CPAP. It's the same. And I was like, no, that's like my bit, but reversed. And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, I mean, you've been in the room with me doing my bit.
Well, then you did, yeah, and then you also told me to knock it off with the purge bathroom bit I was doing.
No, but, I don't know. Yeah, anything that was like, I remember like I was pretty new, and there was a newer guy that didn't stick around. That was like he did a bunch. He had done like a few sets that were just like really rough. Like he'd kind of like screaming, like really manic energy, and like a
I'm still here, baby.
no, this guy he flamed out. This guy.
They're
And,
just called gay now, Pat.
No, like just like burned out real quick, and he like I think he does other stuff like entertain, like he does like music, some of the music now, but he like
Does this man's name rhyme with Rip Tip by any chance?
no.
Oh shit!
No.
No.
I remember
No.
Scriptlet.
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
No, 'cause
we can burn
this
that
is like
name.
2012,
Oh, okay.
2013.
Whatever happened to
Um,
that guy?
I don't know. I hope he's
Okay,
alive.
but the guy
But
you're
like-
talking about is done.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think he like asked for feedback, and I didn't know what to say. But then, like, at the moment, then later I thought about it and sent him a message like, well, I haven't been doing it that long, so I don't know why you like asked. Like, so he asked like a bunch of people for advice. I was like, I haven't been doing it that long, but here's some things that have worked for me, and here's some things I would suggest. And he was like, good idea. And I don't think that he applied any of that.
The only thing that like brand fucking new people that I'm like, you got to do it a lot for a year or two, like a lot, and then just figure it out and record your stuff and listen to it.
It was just a lot of like cursing that didn't need to be in it. A lot of just
I don't know.
When people use fucking as a stall word, that's like one of my.
I do it all the fucking time.
Yeah,
You see, you didn't even use it as a stall word then.
Fucking
I'm talking.
whatever.
Yeah, that's when you go like fucking. Okay.
I'm trying to think. If I've noticed somebody doing a bit that was like similar to someone else's or a famous bit, maybe I would say something then.
But you never told anybody like this bit is not suited for this venue. You never had to like. Well, I guess I know one specific story, which we don't have to hash out, but like.
Probably not.
We're not going to talk
don't
about
bring that one up. But suffice to say, viewers, Pat has.
Yes, at least once.
We answered our own question, Johnny. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I think it dawned on all of us there. Like, hey Pat, have you? Yep. Okay. Moving on.
I've been the biggest stickler of making somebody take time off from Crunchies. Like, I've never like outright banned somebody, but I've been like, we're not going to let this person back on for a month or two after something, after like they really have to pull some antics. It's not enough just to be bad, because a lot of people just have a bad set.
Crunchies is,
it's not the barometer of whether or not you're funny.
I mean, like,
no, it's.
I'm trying to think. Like, anytime I've had to lay down the law about, like, I don't know if this person's gonna come back ever. Then, like, sometimes that's blown up, and I'm the person people target for, how do I get on?
Yeah.
And then, like, if they're not getting on, they're like, well, I'm gonna go right to Pat and yell at him. And, like, people have,
I
like,
never get
threatened
people
me with like violence and legal action, and I'm just like, it's an open mic, man.
Dog, the amount of people that have tried to sue us to get on open mic comedy in mid Michigan. I'm like, that's insane.
I told you, old Nick Earl just had a run-in with one of our
person that threatened me.
One of our old villains. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. He requested time at Crunchies.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah.
That same person messaged the comedy in the Capitol page, which I didn't set up, but I'm an admin on, asking like, hey, are you booking? And I was like, and I tried to respond to it without identifying myself, but I think because I've blocked them, I couldn't send them a message. And I just wanted to be like, this isn't a booking page. This is just information about where the shows are.
Anybody if anybody that upset about not getting stage time, put the same amount of time and effort into perhaps trying to write better jokes and maybe going to other open mics around the state
and not being a general piece of shit.
Yeah, like all that. I'm like, oh, you would within months be doing the local open mics again.
Right.
I didn't want him around because of problems in the past. And
here's something. Here's something. Gatekeepers catch a bad fucking rap, but every now and again, I'm like, they do keep some fucking monsters out of the castle. Like, and I mean both the comedy castle and the proverbial castles.
Yeah, this guy DM'd the Ozone's page, and we don't look at the Ozone's DMs because we just book it ourselves, right? Like, so we don't even. And then this guy DM'd us, and then he started commenting on our posts, going like, "Why don't you read your messages?" And then Nick just blocked him from the Ozone page. And to amend a previous statement, this is the only guy, to my knowledge, actually permanently banned from the Weekly Crunch. But he,
that's probably a couple before your time.
Maybe, well, probably. So Nick blocks him from the Ozone's page, and then he DMs Nick and goes like, "Why'd you block me? We don't even know each other." For the record, he and Nick have met multiple times.
Dog, that always happens
Just
to poor Nick
swinging his
Earl,
big
dude.
dick around.
That
does happen.
That
to Earl
happens to Nick too much, which is a fucking travesty because Nick Earl's hilarious and likable.
Hilarious and people, a good guy.
And a great guy.
And then people just go like, "Have we met?" And it's the most we fucking met energy. And I'm like, dog, someday Nick's gonna get his. And I hope he starts taking fat shits on people.
I remember one person who moved away from here, but she came up to us. Nick and I were at D-Hawk, and she comes up to us and she's like, "Johnny, hi," and she goes, "Quiet guy." She said that.
God.
She was like, "Have we met?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then she like calling him Quiet Guy,
No.
and I was like, I didn't know her name. Like when she came up to us, like the gall to come up and like flex that you don't know a guy's name who you've met multiple
I don't know,
times.
dude. It's
But I mean, like Nick is. Sometimes it's like you have to be an asshole to be memorable,
yeah.
So sometimes people, I remember so many people for the wrong reasons, and
Yeah.
so
Which is not great if you want to get booked.
no,
So, yeah, I mean, I think I was always like starting out was like I want to let my comedy speak for itself,
Right.
And I was like I want to like make sure I'm good before I try to get things, before I try to like get work, and maybe that like meant that I didn't do things on a super fast timeline.
yeah.
Like I think I was 11 years in before I headlined a club, and I don't know, yeah.
Well, do you recommend that to people now, where it's like, because I feel like it took me a while before I started seeking out booking, like,
I mean,
and so some people try to go
I think
straight
it
into it.
depends, because
you know?
like I would say like you're probably, if you try to do too much too fast and you're not ready for it, and you have like make a bad first impression, that's gonna stick with you for a lot longer than you think. Like people remember the bad stories, like the bad things or crazy things are memorable, are probably more memorable than like a killer set.
Yeah.
Because how many times will we talk about someone and be like, "Oh, I remember when they came and did a set and it was so terrible, and then like this happened afterwards," and like that's your memory of them.
You don't want to
And
be
people
infamous
like,
at the open mics.
people be like, "Oh, but 3 years later they were so funny and they're super nice now." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'll never forget what they did."
Right.
Hey, people don't forget.
Hey, there's a couple people that like I keep hearing have had a redemption arc,
Yeah.
but I don't talk to them, so I don't know.
Yep.
But you'll hear people go like, "Oh, he's actually cool now." And I'm like, "I'll believe it when I see it."
Yeah. People like,
Are you talking about Nick Ford again?
I'm not talking about Nick Ford. Nick Ford is a great man. We're cool.
Book him on the Blind Pig already, Andrew, you coward.
Yeah, come on, Andrew.
Hey, you fucking coward.
You're going
This-
pee-pee on his dreams.
This is me fully endorsing Nick Ford to get an open mic spot again.
Hey, Andrew, stop being a coward and let Nick Ford headline the Blind Pig.
And while we're at it, put on everybody else that wants to be on already.
don't worry about if they're old.
And I will
Yeah.
not be surrendering my spot.
Dude, stop being ageist.
Here's the thing. We keep going to bat for people, but I'm not putting my fucking jersey on the table for Rudy.
No,
Fuck that nerd, dude.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, dog. Coach, let him slide. Like, you know.
Dude, I'm gonna have Nick Ford go in under my name. That's how much I'm dying on the road.
And then he's going to give you an accent you don't have.
Oh no.
and I will love it. That's the irony to it.
No irony there. That's just sincerity, baby. Oh, man.
Yeah, but I don't know, as far as like whether people should like hold back, I don't know, maybe I held myself back too much, but I don't have it. I think I'm okay with where I'm at now, so I guess it worked out.
I'd say so. Pat, some of the people you've opened for, yeah, I'd say so, dog.
Yeah.
You've done so good for national. I'm going to name drop for you. Gary
Goldman.
Yeah.
liked you enough that he's like, yeah, come on out. Like,
That's true.
Gary Goldman literally took you with him.
Gary Goldman, arguably the best comic working today, I'd say. Like,
for sure. From
and I'm
like
not
a
just saying that because you're here. But
no, but like the writing standpoint alone, and then
Yeah.
during the pandemic, I remember to keep
That-
himself sane.
that tweet thread.
The tweet thread of
Yeah.
him giving out writing advice was incredible.
Yes.
And I still have all those saved because I'm like, oh, okay, this is like an expert in the craft who isn't as head ass as that one English fella
Yeah.
giving out like good. Who's the
Yeah.
English guy?
Um.
It should be an art form. And
Jimmy
Jimmy
Carr.
Jimmy Carr.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
respect to Jimmy Carr, I'm just saying, like, sure, you can say it like that, or
Yeah.
you can just be Gary Goldman just tweeting out the knowledge.
Giving a lesson.
Yeah, for free. And I was
I-
like, that ruled.
I was talking to my dad
Sorry,
about.
flowers to
Oh,
you, Pat,
sorry.
though,
Oh,
because
thank
that
you.
does fucking rule.
I was talking to my dad after because I did this mic in Columbus when I was there. And my parents came. It was like going 3 hours long, and so my parents, because they just moved there, my dad was like, "Hey, let us know about 10 minutes before you're about to go on, then we'll show
there
up."
you go.
And I didn't want to. Like, I was like, "I don't waste your time. It's no."
Yeah.
But they came out and they watched me, and I have a joke about my mom that involves her doing crack.
Dude, I love that bit.
Now,
Good joke.
in real life, it's not
cocaine?
crack.
No?
Yeah.
Alright.
But I changed it because crack is unambiguously a funnier word for the punchline,
Okay.
and it's that whole like hard consonants are funnier.
Yeah.
You know, and I was trying to explain it to my dad, and he was like, "But who says that? Who says that's funnier?" And I'm like, "It just is."
Psychology.
But he was like,
probably?
"Why?"
Yeah.
Because my dad has this mechanical engineer's mind.
Linguists.
I pulled up the video of Patrice O'Neill explaining why the word Buick is funny, why Buick is funnier than Chevy.
Yeah.
And I was like, "It's just that's it. That's the science of it."
And
And my
well-
dad's looking at me like I'm insane.
Not to literally burn your joke, but you have a joke that uses Buick, right, Pat? And
No,
it's-
he
or Pontiac.
Pontiac.
And it's so
Gary was
fucking
like,
funny.
Pontiac is the right one.
Yeah,
to use for
it's-
that. Yeah.
Pat, I will say you probably, and I mean this as high praise, probably have the most amount of jokes of any like comic from our peer group that I love them, will re-listen to them and laugh
Dude.
at them all the time, and memorize them enough to like tell people like on like
Yeah.
road trips with other comics when you're just going over like Buddy's good bits. You have so many that are so fun to just like kind of go over. I'm like, it's so fucking funny, dude.
Nice.
Not to just make this a glazing sesh for Pat, but I won't burn it.
Hey,
but
we're not Bill Maher.
the OnlyFans bit, which I won't burn.
It's incredible.
The way that came out fully formed,
Yeah.
the way that it was like already the first time you did it, I remember because I think I saw the first time you
It
did
was
it.
at Beggars.
It was
right?
at Beggars.
Yeah.
I
Or
mean,
the
I think
second
I did
time
it
was
at
at Beggars.
Max. Like,
It-
like I had the
but
idea.
then
I
we
did it
saw
at
the
Max, and
second
then
But
you
it was
saw
already
Yeah.
there with
It was
all
like
the
the next night
tags.
at
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
Next night at Beggars.
Yeah.
But it had like every tag, the whole beginning and end was there, and I just remember like being like, "That's insane. That this is
Dude,
just a.
I think
I'm
yeah.
trying this out."
Let's
I think
keep
I
Jack.
always
I'm-
like tried to. I was trying to add more to the end, but as I went, I was like, no, I think it just ends like where it does.
I gotta
Yeah.
keep the Bukkake on Pat train rolling because I remember we were at it was a salsa parlor when we infamously called it the Droptroit show because like everybody from Detroit dropped on us because they were protesting Erickson being on the show. We don't know, but we think
jeez.
it was a lame ass reason. Who gives a shit? It was salsa parlor. We had a
I
great
think
time.
I was on that show.
You subbed in like last minute, and then we're like, Pat, you cool with closing? You're like, sure. Fucking Pat's a goddamn closer. That's why he's a champion. And that's the night I remember you did that New Balance joke for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
That shoes bit, and it almost came out fully formed. And like that's the closest I think I came to actually puking. I was laughing so hard at Salsa Parlor, and I probably had 35 beers in me by then. But
Sure, yeah.
but like, yeah, dude, it is fun to watch you like. You're like a 1-2 done, where it's like, all right, you get it out, you refine it, and then it's like, fuck, the joke's done. Like, god damn, dude. So
But then, sometimes I'll have a joke like that and it doesn't make like the long set. So I'll just like won't do it for a long time,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, oh, I want to try that again, and then it won't
Dude.
be as good, a couple years later. And
dude,
I'm
there's
like,
still classic
why?
bets. The pan jobs.
I mean, yeah, like I'll bring that. and
Not
it'll
your father's
usually
root
work.
beer.
Yeah,
I'm like, I can pull out some Pat classics.
You know what I
dude.
still remember really well from when I was first starting out, and I would just come to Max because I wasn't at the time I hadn't been on Crunchies because Crunchies to get in was 21 and
Oh
up.
yeah,
And I was just coming to
10
Max.
fucking
gatekeepers, dude.
Yeah, Angie Bidstrup introduced me to you guys. I remember because she was my friend's mom from high school, and I would just come to the shows. And your bit about like finding out like. I'm not gonna butcher it, but like finding out that somebody you know is single now, is no longer married.
because they changed their Facebook name to
Yeah.
their first name
Yeah.
and middle name.
Yeah, I remember that was
Yeah.
like one of the first bits I like quoted to my friends.
Yeah, dude.
After that,
Anyways, everybody, listen to Pat's album.
listen to Pat's album.
Listen to Pat's album.
And yeah, I'm thinking about maybe doing a new one because I have other stuff that's not on the first one.
Whoa!
Ooh.
I was just
I don't
about
know
to
when,
say butt
you know.
plugs, but now
I don't know when. This is all like.
It's
I was thinking about.
it's Fugazi.
I told. I was talking with Robert. My idea is to do something. This is what I'm going to call it. This is like a general idea for next year to call it Project 2025, but good.
I think you're gonna. Unfortunately, I think you're gonna lose everybody with that one.
No, you'll have me.
yeah.
I think I might be the only demographic.
Johnny and I'll be there.
I thought it would be funny if I like did a video. It was like it would be like Project 2025 ... but good.
I mean, you make that a Facebook
that's
event,
really-
you're gonna get a crowd.
You'll get a diverse crowd.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like maybe do an album with probably do video because I didn't do video for the first one.
Yeah, like a special.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd record it. Maybe find a club that would do it.
Some of the clubs around the state, or I honestly,
I was thinking of Ann Arbor because I have like the history there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Blind Pig would be cool. Independent could work, but
I mean, I could always try to do Max again because I could just do a Monday.
but
But,
Max is it's not the same.
It's not.
It's not like all due respect, I love it, and I'm glad that it's back, but a little bit of the soul got hosed off with all the blood and cum they got out of those
Yeah.
walls.
I would say I'd wait until the blood and cum returns a bit because it
Hey,
will.
let me tell you,
Yeah.
every Monday I'm there. I'm working on those.
We're hacking away
I
piece by
remember
piece.
like at one point in the old Max when people talked about back in the 90s they like renovated it and then it became like what it was. And so I was like, eventually people were like, remember back in 2022 when it was
Yeah.
nice again? And
We're gonna notice a grime shift in the brick.
No, I remember when everybody was like, "Did you hear Max isn't a punk bar anymore?" I heard Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park going like, "Life finds a way."
Yeah.
yeah.
Dog, they said that. I'm like, there's two TVs playing sports. There's another one playing anime, and it's starting to smell like Max again.
Yeah.
Like it's a punk bar.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like maybe do a special, try to get on in like some new places because I worked with some people at like Grey Wall Hall when I worked with
Scott Bell.
Great
was
Wall
a-
would be cool.
Are you talking about when we worked with Tom Green?
Well, I worked with Ben Bailey too.
Oh, yeah.
Like his
okay.
opener he had an opener with him who was like, I might be able to help you get in a club in Iowa. So I was like, part of me was like, well, I should just go there because I've never been to Iowa for comedy or anything.
I mean,
so it's just like. It's not like a dream, but I was like, it'd be cool to perform places where I've never been.
Right,
So
right.
it's like, just try to get out there more because
yeah.
I have, well, for the most part, except for like going to,
Hey, Goldman, take him with you again.
except for like randomly going to California and Alaska, I've mostly
Yeah.
stayed like Michigan and Ohio.
That is wild. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you'll do Indianapolis and then Anchorage. I'm like, Pat, there's more in between.
Yeah.
It's like we got to get you to Wisconsin, friend.
Well, I mean, it's like I gotta pay my own way and
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure I have vacation at work and stuff.
yeah, that's fair. About butt plugs time.
Butt plugs time.
Butt plugs.
You want to go first, or
When is this coming out?
Thursday.
I am egregiously underbooked by my own doing this month. So August 24th, I'm in Windsor, Canada. I think I brought that up
Oh,
for
cool.
some Canadian comedy festival, which will be neat. Then I don't know, River City, Ozones at the end of the month.
yeah?
Hoping to have a fun time at Ozones because that is
Yeah.
one of my favorite
It's been
shows.
good last times I've done it.
No, it's
Yeah.
just every other time I've been there, there's been like a total shithead there.
Mhm.
It's like it'll be an awesome time, and then like a shithead will come out.
Hey,
of the
maybe we'll
woodwork.
have a great pod story after the
Yeah,
next.
maybe. But I think the 24th, and then September is it should have a lot of stuff coming up. And then I know I keep bringing it up, but I am moving to Chicago, and I think the set date for that is the first week in October is when I'll be out of this apartment,
Wow.
like using a U-Haul. But until then, I'm taking small car rides every other week, just loading up an
Moving
outback
stuff a
full of
little
shit.
bit.
Yeah. So,
Well,
know.
I
But-
mean, I'm glad to have you on, Max. Until then.
Yeah, man. I don't want to get too emotional about it, but it's starting to get a little bit real every week where I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I've been here a decade. I'm like, all right, this is home, so I'm moving away from home for a little bit. But it'll be fun. Yeah. It'll be fun.
Free bird.
Free bird, baby. The song, not the animal. Butt plugs, Johnny?
Yeah, I'll be, when this comes out, which will be Thursday, for the viewers tonight, I am at the Masonic Temple for the Immortal Comedy, the show that Scott and Johanna run.
Acacia Room, baby.
The Acacia Room, yeah. And then the weekend of the 22nd through the 24th, I'm hosting at One Night Stands for Dave Mishevitz. Is it Mishevitz? I feel bad.
Heard Mishevitz.
Mishevitz, that sounds right. Yeah, Dave Mishevitz.
Mischievous.
Yeah, mischievous. I'm getting mischievous with Dave Mishevitz the 22nd through the 24th. And then I'll be hosting Ozones at the end of the month, which Lou will be on. So.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yes.
We can beat up a guy together this month.
I'll be back.
If the whole trio's there, we got.
That'll be your going away present. Is I'll beat up your heckler.
But we're not gonna beat him up normal style. We're gonna Three Stooges it. I want to tabletop him so bad, dude. Like, I'm gonna kick you. He imagine me like I'm gonna kick your ass, and then you push him, and he falls over your back.
I got some exciting plugs.
Yeah,
you got a butt plug?
What do you got?
If you pull out a gun right now,
You Joker us?
No.
I got something exciting. Look at this.
Max Monday Comedy every Monday until forever.
Pandemic didn't stop it.
Pandemic didn't stop us.
City council didn't stop us.
Grand Rapids tried.
And from the ashes rises the phoenix.
Yes, we rise. But then just as of today, when we recorded this, I've been booked the weekend of the 23rd and 24th. I'll be at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase featuring for Tim Meadows from Saturday Night Live and Mean Girls and Walk Hard and Pop Star Never Stop Stopping.
He's so funny in Walk Hard.
Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
want none
I
of
was
this.
like, I got to get a copy of Walk Hard to get him to sign that.
Not
Dude.
once have you paid for drugs. I think that's,
That fucking rules.
Yeah.
Man.
That's
Congratulations.
awesome,
But you're featuring for him?
Yep.
That's awesome.
That rules.
Okay. That
Yeah,
fucking rules.
Got that text today, and then I think those are the big August things.
Big butt plugs.
All right.
All right. I think we'll table tap.
Table tap.
Ancient Chinese secret, huh?
I wanted to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. That's our
Is that like Project 2025?
JD Vance with an eye patch.
JD, what did you feel when you had to dismiss all those fake MAGA supporters? Recoil.
Oh no, that's all I had to
What's
say.
the Avengers Initiative?
I was making a post credits joke.
Oh,
And Pat's a Marvel.
Oh,
fan.
I was like,
Good
I
for
haven't
him.
seen the new Deadpool yet. I was like, you know.
This dates back to Iron Man. There
Yeah,
was
that's
Iron
like
Man.
the
I
first
no,
Iron
I
Man.
understand it
First,
now.
2008.
I'm allowed to be dumb.
Yeah.
I'm 1/2 or third of this podcast right now. All right, let me get us down to the D- mark. We are.
I don't know. I like that. The Avengers Initiative thing. That was funny.
No,
Thank you.
jacking off.
Appreciate
We started with it.
Jacking off.
Oh, we'll finish with it.
Yeah, we're gonna bookend this with jacking
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
I got you guys. They're making like good sex toys for dudes finally.
oh
Yeah, but that's weird. I don't know.
I don't think it's weird.
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem
understand
with
that-
it necessarily, but I guess
it seemed like you did.
Okay, well,
I'm
guess
gonna
here's
play
my-
the tape back. It
here's-
seemed like you did.
my hang up on it, if you want to call it that, is because it seems like a new thing to me, and I'd be like,
It is new, yeah.
It is new. But it's like, all right, so if I do that, then am I just giving up completely on
I don't think so. No, dude.
What kind of toys? I'm not caught up on this.
I'm gonna learn you up on it.
All right.
Because for the longest time, ladies I know have had to deal with probably. Let's just go ahead and say it. A lot of discrepancies in the equality of the world, but they were dominating the sex toy market for a while.
Yeah.
Turns out vibrations also feel pretty good on a wiener.
Yeah.
And what do we have for the longest time? Lotion, and then they're like, ew, jack off with fucking lotion.
Yep.
And then some dudes were like, what if you could fuck a flashlight that felt like a pussy? And then the flashlight was born. But no, go to Target now, and like somehow Target and like Walgreens and a bunch of these like would be wholesome. You know, you wouldn't think about it. I think just the normalization of sexualization. Like buy the condoms. There's like all kinds of sex toys, and one of them's like a grippy thing with a vibrator in there. I've been tempted, dog. I'm like, it's at Target.
Wow.
Target's a feel good place.
Elena and I
in
really
more
did
ways
ruin you,
than one.
dude.
Dude, you guys were like, you know what's awesome? I was like, porn does make it efficient, and then Target's like, dude, check out this sleeve.
Wow.
It's not even creepy looking. They're like. That's the other thing is
discreet packaging.
well, I feel like sex toys used to be like these look crazy, but now they're like fun colors, and you're like, if you didn't know, you'd be like, what is this little thing, dude?
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, gross. But I
They're
don't know.
deceptively welcoming.
All I'm saying is, I see them out there. They seem wildly affordable. And
Hey, it's the working man's toy.
I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna be detached from society, but no, as a jacking off
like-
expert, you seem against it.
I'm an
I don't know, I'm not
old-fashioned
against
man.
it.
Are you Amish when it comes
No,
to playing with
I
yourself?
guess I would like it's
About to go-
like I said, I was like, but if I go down that road, am I just like
You don't have to callous your ween to say you're throwing in the towel, though.
I don't know.
You ain't throwing in no towel.
The way I used to do that
It
is
just seems strange to like buy a machine to do that.
I get it.
You know, I don't-
Jedediah Sievert goes old-fashioned on his
I don't
ween.
know, yeah.
see, my old move was just text my grandpa.
Oh, right?
I just text him Tucker Carlson's a loser. Then I put my phone on vibrate and set it right on my dick. But then I had to stop because it meant that my grandpa was jerking me
Making
off
you-
Then you're like,
indirectly.
oh no, I'm becoming too much like the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
family members aware of what I'm doing.
Oh, my God, yeah.
We talked about that last
Yeah,
week.
what
yeah.
the fuck,
Mike Johnson.
dude?
Yeah.
My son regulates my... Gross, dude.
no.
Yeah. Of all people.
If
too.
my dad was like, "Hey Lou, could you go ahead and manage my porn watching?" I'd be like, "Nah, you're gonna hire that out to a different office."
Yeah.
You know what I would do? I would never look, but then I just tell him every day, you need to watch more.
Well,
You're not watching enough, Dad.
Yeah. Bump those numbers up.
Not look and just be like, I'm disappointed in you.
I thought you were full of cum, dude.
I'd like print it out, put on glasses. Like, yep, I ran the numbers this week. It's not looking too good. You can fit 5 more jack-offs in this
Dad, do you
fiscal
have low
quarter.
T?
Just getting them liquid IVs and gallons of water. Like, get in there, champ.
I was on an ad on like one of the adult sites that was like for increasing your load, and it was just like it was like, here's a normal load, and here's when you take this, and it's like just filling this cup. And I was like, who wants that?
Yeah,
Who
who's talking about Semen X?
but who was like, yeah,
Speaking of which, our sponsor today.
but who was like, I didn't make enough,
Dude.
I want more to clean up.
Having a clownish amount of load is a lot of fun.
No.
Yeah, the more you pulse, and you're like, oh yeah, it's so good. It's you got to get Semen
I mean, I'm
X in
saying
your
it doesn't
life.
feel
Dude,
good, but I don't want to be like,
You don't want more load?
no.
You wish you could dry? You're trying to dry
No,
muscle?
but I was
You
never
want
like,
a proportional amount of load?
I'm in favor of a smaller load because I love my girlfriend and I want her to have less to wipe off her face.
it's like I was never like, I was trying to fill that
gotta
cup.
laugh.
You gotta laugh.
You gotta laugh.
Yeah. I don't think it was worth saying.
Gracie's not going to care for it. but
She did not make it this far in this episode. Gracie doesn't listen to a single word.
Guess
we
what?
She was
say
a
on
fan.
Clips are coming back this week because Lou's starting to beat his depression.
Flip it, baby.
I'm beating depression more than I'm beating my dick. How about a vibrator for your soul?
Vibrator for your soul. should be better.
Vibrator for your soul. That's
Sometimes when I do a long set and I'm feeling good about it, I'll be at like long comedy set and feeling good about it. I'll be like, yeah, I have like 4 jokes about jacking off. I never thought I would. Like when I started out, people were like, "You're so clean, Pat." I'm like, well, no, no.
you're talking about load,
Times
dude.
change.
I'm going
Young
to tell you
blood.
right now, Pat, and listen, I just be open to new experiences. I'm gonna get you some Semen X.
No.
I'm gonna get us a couple of them vibrating sleeves.
When's your birthday, Pat?
Whenever the fuck we get these sleeves,
gotta
dude.
wait.
No,
happy late birthday.
Happy late birthday.
11
Now,
months from now.
but for Labor Day, because you're gonna be putting in that work, I'm gonna get you some Semen X and a vibrating sleeve, and then you know, I've seen it. I don't like that the commercial for it is like one half of dueling banjos and 2 shot glasses full of cum.
Yeah.
Most people's shot glass full of cum's only half full.
Hey, here's what we do next week. We each fill our own glass. And then we just compare them. We put them on the table, and we see who's produced more.
We got to do it blind, like don't label whose is what.
Yeah,
We gotta do it.
I guess we got to know whose is what, but we
Flavor
got to have like
alone.
someone who doesn't know be like, well, which are you more impressed by?
Hang on.
That's Lou.
I've always wanted to talk to a medical professional. Sometimes load is like white, and then other times it's like clear. What's that about?
I don't know.
I should
Changes
see a
with the
doctor.
seasons.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you raise a good point.
Well, that's what
I've
we
never
do
known.
here in the
I
post
don't
credits.
Mine's always red, dude.
Asking the tough questions.
Yeah. Well, excuse me, dude. I want to go to a political town hall and ask that question so bad. Be like, oh, excuse me. Sometimes
Decision 2024. We've got some undecided
You
voters.
should say like it's a conspiracy theory.
No, I
like,
got
wow,
some-
interesting how sometimes it's white.
I got something for you, Project 2025. Sometimes when I bust, it is awesome white ropes, and then other times it's spritzy clear liquid. And
Make cum white again.
hey, baby, it's all we're all cum, baby. it's all cum, baby. Oh,
Beautiful.
dude, when you go back to the Masonic, you got to do our bit.
We can't say that, bit.
No, we can't. But
All right.
I just wanted to end with the big inside joke.
All right, cool. We'll
Good-
explain it to Pat.
Yeah,
off
join
camera.
Pat. We'll tell you off camera. Join our Patreon to hear the uncensored version of that bit.
There you go.
All right. Anything else?
Bye. I think that's it.
All right.
Cool.
That'll do it. Let's all just jack off now.